Hello there. Welcome to Noon Prayer Watch. It's Friday. The weekend is here. Shabbat Shalom. Hope y'all had a good week, a good couple of weeks. It's been a little while since you last saw me. This is Jacob coming to you from Japan. Thank you for tuning in or catching up on the replay later. We are here on the wall, so to speak, watching, praying, discussing what is happening in our communities, cities, nations, and planet. And today I'm going to be discussing what happened within the last few weeks here in my city, my nation, where I live right now, in the Far East, in the land of the rising sun. It's been a couple of weeks. It is May 29th now, the end of May. I was on a little bit of a hiatus, most of you know, but if you don't, from Christian Center Shreveport all the way from the great state of Louisiana, we had a team come from our church, our home base in Northwest Louisiana. And we had a mission trip here in Japan the last 2 weeks from May 13th to whenever, I don't remember the date, whenever Sunday was. 24th, was it? Yeah, it was the 24th. I have my calendar here right now. And it was a very good trip. For a few minutes, I would like to regale you with what happened, some of the highlights. I'm not going to say everything. We don't have time for that. Lots of things happened. It was a different kind of trip because we had a lot of young people. We have, of course, at CCS, our Aleph School of Ministry. The graduating class will always take a mission trip at the end of the year. And normally they go to a different country, but this time we decided to have a mission trip to Japan. And that was very interesting. I'm not going to say it was difficult, but this nation, compared to, I think, other nations, all nations are different from America, but it has its unique, I'm not going to say challenge, but it's complex. It's different from America, different from Europe, I would say, maybe South America. I only have a little bit of experience in South America, so I can't say for sure how complex that is, but it's different here. There's a different language, different culture, different mindset, different physical logistics you have to navigate, trains, buses, hotels, all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit different, although it is becoming a lot more friendly to visitors because tourism is becoming such a big part of the economy here. So I would like to recall some of the things that happened, what we went through, what we experienced, and some of the things that God did here in Japan these last couple of weeks. So buckle. I don't have any media to show you. We had some people on the team from the media team at CCS. They took lots of videos, lots of photos. And so I'm sure if you haven't seen any media on social media or whatnot yet, trailers, things like that, I expect those to come. I'm not trying to put pressure on the media team, but I'm expecting to see more content come out in the near future. But I will say, like, some people are, when it comes to this nation, I won't say, how do I say this? They expect more videos, photos, and things like that. But when it comes to personal relationships here, I just want to throw this out here. If this is something you think that you have to be very careful of what you show, of who you show, what faces. You can't show people's faces in general. Some people are okay. You can ask for permission or whatever, but in general, it's best not to. This is a small nation. Privacy is highly regarded here because if your privacy is blown, it's really hard to get it back because, like, if I go out in front of my house and take a picture, here I am, people can easily find that because this is a big city. It's maybe different in the countryside, but even still, this nation is very small and people take their privacy seriously. There's legal reasons as well. Even anyway, I'm not going to go into why all that is. It's just that some people don't have a lot of, well, they have too much free time. They don't have a lot going on, and they will sit on the internet and find out where people live and harass them if they want, if they wish to, and you can't really do anything to protect yourself. And the only thing you can do is protect your privacy. So that's why we're really conscientious of what we post and who we post and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, you will see some stuff, I believe. You will hear some more testimonies. The team got back in the middle of this week, and I think there were some difficulties with flight delays or whatnot, so they got back a little bit later than they had planned, but everyone is back home as far as I know. So it was a successful trip. Everybody came, everybody went. Overall, pretty smooth. What actually happened? What did we do? Normally, when we've done these trips, CCS has done these trips for the last 2023, 24, 25, 26. This is the 4th year in a row we've done it. We had another trip we in 2020, right before the coronavirus season. And so this is the 5th official trip we have done, mission trip we have done. And it was different this time because we had 15 people in our party, so to speak, including my family, my wife and my daughter. We had 15 people, and so that's a lot different. Normally we have 5 to 6 people. You can fit them in one vehicle, one hotel, all that sort of stuff. When you go to restaurants, easy to get a table. When you buy food, easy to accommodate for that. And so now the team has tripled in size, and I love a logistical challenge. That's something that God has put inside of me and to deal with, and that is something that was basically my role the whole trip. I did ministry here and there, but overall driving people, getting them where they need to go, getting them things they need, directing them where they need to be, all that sort of stuff. Translating, that was basically my role. And with 15 people and going so many different places, had lots to do every single day, on top of having a baby running around everywhere. It was great though. I'm not complaining at all. Some people, like I when I give analysis, I just give the facts of how I see it. And some people are like, you're being negative? No, I'm not. I'm enjoying all of it 100%. It's just, that's the way my brain thinks. It's like, these are the things that you have to deal with. You have to do. It's like a puzzle you put together, and I really enjoy that. That's the way God made me, and that is the function that I serve, making other people's experience smoother. That's what I do. That's what I did. And my wife was the main translator for a lot of places, but we also have been blessed because we have been doing this for a couple of years, and we meet people in other churches, and so some of their people are able to translate for us. The language barrier is one of the stickiest things to deal with here, because the young people, we're finding as they're getting older and becoming teenagers and adults, they're better at English, but we still have middle-aged elderly people who struggle with that, and so you need translators wherever you go. And when you have a team of 15 people, you need at least 3, sometimes 4 is best. And we have been blessed. We have been meeting people, and they have been able to help us communicate from English or whatever language you're speaking to Japanese, but also other languages like Chinese and Korean. So the team arrived. Let's recap what happened. I have my schedule here. Just going to quickly go through what actually happened. So sit back and relax. Grab a iced tea, sweet tea, whatever you like to drink, and listen on. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. On May the 13th, it was a Wednesday, the rest of the team arrived. One group arrived the day before, but the rest of the team arrived Wednesday night here in Osaka. We had dinner, met everybody, got everyone into their hotels, acclimated. And the great thing about when you fly here is because the time difference is so vast. Usually you land at night, and so you go to bed at a normal time like you would at home. And when you wake up, it's morning, and you generally don't have to struggle with jet lag. Usually I'll start waking up like 5, 6 a.m. anyway, and slowly over time, your normal wake up time, whatever that is, 7 a.m., it goes back to that. It's not a drastic shift. Like I feel like going to Europe is a lot harder. The 7 hour difference is harder to deal with than a 14, 13, 15 hour difference. So as far as I know some people woke up like at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., which isn't terrible. It's terrible when it's like 1:30 a.m. and you're wide awake. But as far as I know, people didn't generally suffer from heavy jet lag. So we got over that very quickly. On May the 14th, on a Thursday, we take a day to get the team acclimated to the time zone, get them out in the sunlight, moving around. And so here in Osaka, very big city, we close to our hotel, we went downtown, did some sightseeing, ate lunch, did some shopping, all that sort of stuff, because this is really the only time that they have to do that. Because after this, they're going to be busy with ministry and all that stuff. So we did that, got everyone moved around a full day. They're probably really tired. I don't know how, maybe that's just me speaking, but they have lots of energy. We got them through all of that on the Thursday, and then Friday, ministry began. We got a big van. I have a small van that can sit a few people, but we got a big van, a 10-seater, and with two vehicles this time, two big vehicles, we traveled to our first destination in the countryside in a different island. It's where it is. I talked about them before. You sometimes see me broadcast from there. It is the ministry where my wife is from and her family. Her father is a pastor, and that is a ministry we have a very strong relationship with. And so we spent a weekend with them. On Friday, we left there. We drove to the church there, landed there in the afternoon, arrived there in the afternoon, met everybody, got everybody into their lodgings. The church kindly provided lodgings for us, for the team, the young people at least, and the elderly people, the leaders, we went somewhere else. But went there, met everybody. There was supposed to be on my schedule some ministry with the English school that they have in this church. I don't know. I think I left. I had to take people somewhere else. I'm not sure if that actually happened, but that night they were supposed to start doing ministry stuff, meeting people, having dinner, and all that sort of stuff. And then Saturday, everything began. On Saturday, here's something really interesting that happened. In the morning, we had a what do you call it? Before the meeting that we had planned for that day, we had a kind of a prayer walk, and some really interesting things happened. We walked. It was about a kilometer away, maybe, which is 2/3 of a mile or so. Maybe my math is not accurate there, but we walked a bit up this hill and up to kind of this high place. It was like a tourist, not a tourist spot, but like a high viewing area. You can see there's a bay. The church is by the ocean. Maybe you've seen pictures, I don't know, but there's a bay, a cove, if you want to call it. You can see the ocean and the land. And so we went up there and we prayed, because it's a place you can see everything. We just prayed for the area, and that's something we generally like to do everywhere we go. Churches in Shreveport likes to do everywhere we go. We don't just go to the churches and minister to the people. We also want to know the land. We want to know the community, the city, what's going on physically, of course, but also spiritually. We feel things, and we want to pray into that, because we want these places to be blessed. We want them to thrive. We want life to come to them if life isn't there already. But reviving of life, a refreshing is always needed pretty much everywhere. You can always use it again. And so we went there and we prayed and we declared things that we saw. And one of the interesting things that happened, and I noticed this, I didn't say anything, but I noticed it. When we went up there, it was very quiet. What I mean by quiet is, there's no cars or there are big roads around there, so there's no like urban sounds going on all that much. But I'm talking about the nature, I'm talking about animals and all that sort of stuff. And so we were standing up there, and I noticed that it was really quiet. But then as we prayed and we got words about just, there was a lot of different things that happened, but as we were declaring and praying for life to come back, and we're talking about like fish and birds and things like that have been missing for a long time to come back. As we started declaring that, I'm not even kidding. If I would have known this was going to happen, I would have recorded it, so a skeptic could listen to the evidence. But the birds started singing, and as we prayed, they started singing. They were getting louder and louder and louder, and by the time we were done, it was really loud. And for me, I'm really sensitive to background noise, and so it's kind of like, whoa, all of a sudden, all of these birds and everything are everywhere. You could say it's a coincidence or whatever, but I think that there's something there. When you be a light in a place, life comes back. And so another interesting thing that happened, I've been to this place many, many times because my family lives there. But one of our friends, she's a missionary, doesn't live in Japan, but she's Japanese and she lives in Europe, but she was in town. And so she mentioned to us that there was a grave in the area. And graves are generally of, famous people, some high level person. Generally, those are spiritually, what do you want to call them? Dark spots, because there was probably some kind of, worship of the dead or something. You never know what happens in these sorts of places. Some sort of ritual was done when they buried them. And so she said that there was a grave, this really kind of important historical site nearby, which, I've been there so many times. I never knew about this place. And some of the people that grew up there and they lived there, it's just, a 10-minute walk. They didn't know that this place really existed. And so she said, she was like, maybe we should go there and pray and see, what's going on over there. And so we went there, and it was really interesting because I don't know if you're a history nerd or anything like that. I am. I love history and cool things like this. There was this grave, and usually in Japan, when ancient graves are just dirt, like a dirt mound, which is interesting because there's these kind of dirt mound grave places all over the world, even in the state of Louisiana. It really reminded me when I was there, it reminded me of, we have a place in Louisiana on the other side of the state from Shreveport called Poverty Point near Monroe. And it was the same vibe. It was just like the ancient people just did the same stuff all over the world, basically. But this place was unique because they put stones all over it, and they were not organized, because it turned out this particular grave was built around AD 300, which would have been a couple hundred years after the time of Christ, that the disciples of the early church, before Constantine, made Catholicism, Christianity, the religion of Rome and all that sort of stuff. I was like, wow, there were people in this small island in Japan doing stuff, building these massive things here. And it was very dark when we went there, and everyone sensed that. And we did a quick prayer. Some of our friends did a repentance thing, because you never know what sort of pagan darkness was happening there over almost 2,000 years, 1,700 years. And you never know, when you pray these things and you break things off, that can bring breakthrough to an area. A lot has happened since then. I'm trying to remember, trying to keep the details straight in my head, but that happened. That was a really interesting experience. Knowing the history, knowing the land, I think that information, it can help us pray and break things off and unblock things in the spirit when you go places like this. And that's a whole other complicated topic. I'm not an expert on it. I'm speaking as a very layman in that sense. But Pastor Tim, other pastors in our ministry, talk a lot about that. We teach a lot about it in our school of ministry classes. So if you want to learn more about that, you can ask them. They can give you a class to take, a book to read, and some general advice and all of that. But it's a really serious topic, spiritual mapping, spiritual warfare. And we did a little bit of that. Then we had a meeting, and I'm trying to remember if we did prophetic teams that day. A good thing about having a big team is you have a team, I should say, with people who have been trained in doing ministry, praying for people, praying for healing, giving prophetic words, is you have a lot of people to do that, and so you can cover more people that come. And so that is what we did. We had a school of ministry, basically a little bit of a school of ministry, how to hear God, how to find your destiny. That was the theme of it. And you probably have all seen it, but Christian Center Shreveport, we made a short film. The media team did back in Louisiana. It was very good. And we did that, and we talked about finding your destiny. And we had a lot of young people show up and prayed over them, prophesied over them. Of course, middle-aged, elderly people as well. But it was really nice because we had so many people to pray for so many of the attendance and the meetings. And so I feel like very quickly we were able to cover a lot of people. In the past, when you only have a handful of people, it's harder to do that. And so that puts less stress on the leaders, especially that like to prophesy. So it was really good. A lot of the team I've met before and I've known them, but this is the first time I've helped minister to them. I did most of the translation with my group, did a little bit of prophecy myself and all that, but mainly did translation. And it was really cool to work alongside the team and help translate what they were saying into Japanese so that the person listening could be edified and blessed. It was really good. So we did that on Saturday. On Sunday, we had a Sunday service. It was a normal service. Pastor Tim gave a very good message talking about Solomon. If you haven't heard his take on that, it was very good. And then we had lunch. We had another ministry meeting in the afternoon, some of the same stuff. Very good stuff. And that was that church. On Monday, so another thing that we want to do is when we come and do ministry in Japan, this is very important. And if you or someone you know is going to do ministry, I think this is a mindset that we all need to have when we do this, is we do go to serve, and that's very good, but we also go to learn. We bless others, but it's important. It's like this. It's like the natural backwards way of human thinking is you take and you receive, and you take and you receive. And then the Bible says it's better to give than to receive, right? But that doesn't mean you stop receiving. And I think what happens with a lot of us is we just want to give. We don't want to receive anything. And that causes a problem, because it is better to give to receive. But when you meet with another saint, another brother or sister in Christ, it is good for them to give as well. And so if you do not receive, they cannot give. They cannot be blessed for giving. There needs to be an exchange. We are a body, and we give and we take and we give and we take. And there needs to be a natural flow of things. I'm saying all of this to say, when we come and do ministry, we don't just like come and prophesy and teach and then leave. Like do what we say, and because that makes the relationship uneven. And it's important to receive from them as well, to learn from them as well. That is another thing. On Monday, that's what we did. We had the pastor of the church give basically a 1-hour teaching on Japan, on a little bit of the history, especially when it comes to Christianity, the relationship between the religion of the land and the paganism and all of that. And so that was really good, because that was a way they can help us. They can give and we can receive and we can learn. And so what happens is we both give, parties do, and you both grow. And your relationship becomes stronger. And that is an attitude, that is a mindset we have, especially in Japan. That's a really important concept within Japanese culture. It's not good to just come and give and don't take anything and leave, because it leaves them with this dissatisfaction of not being able to return the favor. It's really important in this culture here. And there's the whole, idea of unconditional love. You just give without any condition. That's all good. That's great. But you need to be you have to receive too, because you have to give the other person an opportunity to bless you, because God blesses those who bless others. If you read the Bible, it says something along those lines. Better to give than to receive. So we were able to receive that. We also want, because it's a mission trip, we have young people who have graduated. They don't know all that much about Asia. They might have read some things, but it's better to go to the place and to experience them. And so we went to some sites, some religious sites, as well as some cultural and historical sites, for everyone to learn to experience Japan, especially ancient Japan, and Asia too, because a lot of these things translate over into Asia as well. And so we spent a whole day going to nearby places and just learning about that. Because in the future, I don't know, the team is coming back. Some of them might come back to Asia. Some of them might inspire others to go to Asia. You never know what's going to happen. But having, again, more information about where you are, what you are doing, helps you in the long run. And I am running out of time, so I'm going to go by very quickly. On Tuesday, we had another ministry opportunity, a different kind of opportunity. And one of the things, as my wife and I were planning this mission trip, we wanted the team, especially the young people, to experience the different kinds of ministry that Christians do in Japan. Because again, Christians are a very small percentage of the nation here, and how they do ministry manifests in different ways. And one of the ways they do, I've talked about this before, but is education. The education mountain is very easy for Christians to enter because a lot of Christians know English, and a lot of people here want to know English, and they want to know how to communicate with people from different countries and the mindset and how to do all that. And so education is one of those things. And so we know a very small, in the countryside nearby where my wife's family lives, we know of this school. And when I say school, it is literally a house. They bought this house. It has like 4 rooms, and it's small. It has, 20, 30 students. Most of them are young. And they have another house for like, it's like a break room and a place for teachers to live and eat food and things like that. So they have 2 houses. That is what this school actually is. They also have a big playground in front. Big for this nation anyway. And so we spent all day from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. helping out this school. And, dealing with kids. I love kids, but dealing with them day in and day out gets a little bit exhausting. And so a lot of the teachers at this school got to have kind of a rest day. That was another ministry we afforded them. They were able to chill out for one day. And we had a lot of young people. We split them up into different groups with different kids and spent the day just hanging out with them. And, here, when it comes to these sorts of schools, especially Christian schools, we were free to spread the gospel, to talk about Jesus. And so we did that thing. They did games, songs, skits, dramas, things like that. And I'm not going to give the details of that, but that's what they did all day. They got to experience that. I don't know if that's the kind of work they were expecting to do here in Asia, but that is a type of ministry that people do here. And it does make an impact, especially if you sow. That's something I did for many years. And you sow into children for years and years and years and years. Some of the students that I have, I've known for over a decade now. And me and other teachers I've worked with, there is fruit, I will say. And it's so inspiring to see that. It's not because of what we did. It's all God. It's them, and it's the work that they did. But seeing them go through life, some of them come to Christ, some of them get on fire for Christ. It's so amazing to see. And these are the kind of ministries that produce fruit. And that's, again, a different topic. I don't want to go off on a segue there. But that was a taste we gave the team. They could see that. On Wednesday and Thursday, we did more cultural learning. We went to the heart of Japan, a historical heart, where the original capital was, where all of the Buddhist and Shinto stuff started in Japan. We went there and learned about the history of Japan there. We also went to Osaka Castle, which is, not going to get into the history, but really important historically. Thursday was kind of we had some plans. It was going to rain, so we kind of kept things chill a little bit, not a rest day, but just a chillax day, And because Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be super busy. And so we just chilled out for Thursday. On Friday, we did our final destination in the city of Kobe, next to Osaka. Maybe you've heard of Kobe beef. If you heard of the famous basketball player, the late basketball player Kobe Bryant, he was named after the city. And it's part of the metropolitan area of Osaka, where I live. But we have a ministry there that's connected to a more international group of people from China, Korea, Japan, other places as well. And so we spent 3 days with them. Both, they have a school there as well. And so we were teaching about hearing the voice of God to the young people, to the young generation there. And we did worship. I've also forgot to mention that we had the Aleph team did worship and dance. It was very well done. very powerful. Did that, got to minister to a lot of people. A lot of people came. We did street ministry. We did treasure hunting. When we prayed for people, we prayed for healing. We saw people healed. I saw people healed. I wasn't in every group, but I was translating for some. I was with Pastor John West. You know him, right? And I think one of the most powerful moments was, it was simple, but there was a girl who suffered from depression, and we prayed for her. It was just me and Pastor John West, and I'm not like a super emotional person. I don't cry easily or anything like that. But when Pastor John started praying for this girl, I started weeping. Like, I would just like, oh my God. And I'm trying to translate into Japanese, and he started, crying too. And it was just so powerful. And I pray, we pray for breakthrough and all those sorts of things. And I just on the spot, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was overwhelmed with so much emotion. And then after we walked away, I was fine. A lot of things like that were happening, I believe. And it was interesting here because we had to translate into Chinese, and we had to find people to do that. That was an interesting logistical thing to do. And I will say that we had plans to do certain things, but it ended up becoming a lot bigger, a lot more prophetic ministry and things like that. And we weren't expecting to do that, but that's how it turned out. The people were very much blessed. They wanted us to come back and in the future. And I think that a lot of good things happened there, but I think seeds were sown for greater things to happen in the future. And so we did that for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's basically what we did, long story short. Then we got the team Sunday night back to Osaka, and they flew out to Tokyo that night. So I thank them. I thank Pastor Tim, Pastor John, Miss Susan, all the team that came for spending their time, spending their energy, spending their resources to come out here and do ministry. I know they enjoyed it, and then the people enjoyed it, but I am truly blessed and truly honored to be able to work with them here. Yes, they're my family. A lot of them are my physical family, but it's an honor to do that. I thank you guys that are watching this. If you prayed for us, you prayed for them, if you sowed into them financially, I know a lot of them worked very hard in order to afford to come out here. The people here, I will also say, appreciate that, because not a lot of ministers, not a lot of mission trips come to this nation for a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different cultural, language barriers that are hard to navigate, but also financial barriers, especially in this economy. But God provides. He is our provider, and He provided. And I thank you for praying. I thank you if you sowed financially to anybody on our team, to us here in Japan. We appreciate it so much. Fruit will come from the seeds planted in this trip. I have faith that will be true in the future. And so if you want to continue to support us financially, you can do so on our website, on the CCS app, in the App Store. That is all I have for you today. More things I want to say, but my time is up. I hope you had a good week and have a better weekend. June is coming. Summer is coming. It's going to get hot. Stay hydrated. Don't be thirsty. Don't take the heat for granted. I will see you next time. I'm Jacob. Bye-bye.